Welcome to episode 5 of the Movieslingers. Before we begin, I actually want to apologize to our listeners because last week in episode 4 I started saying episode 3. So I'm so sorry about that. So welcome to the Movieslingers starring
Nuan
and me, Dinul. So you might be wondering what's up with this episode. The truth is actually we are in a car. Actually, we are in Nuan's car. And we just came out of
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
So
yeah, we just watched it. This is our raw thoughts right out of the theater. So what did you think about it, man? How did you feel about this one?
Okay, so I'll be very honest, right? Because I don't think I asked for a fifth film. Because after watching the fourth film, I thought I was done with the whole thing, and then when the news came out, there's going to be a new Indiana Jones movie, I kind of gave it a side eye, and after
a lot of us did. We didn't really ask for another one.
Okay, so do you want my review or like my rating out of 5?
Let's go with your review, and then maybe after that we'll give a rating.
Okay, so I'll be very honest, right? First 2 acts weren't that great. I think we kind of
I also agree. Yeah.
But the third act was really good.
Third act was very unexpected. That's kind of understating how bonkers the third act was. Yeah.
Also, who's the female actress?
The Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, I think.
Yeah. I felt like she was the same person as she was on Fleabag.
Oh, right. Okay. I haven't seen that, so I don't know.
I watched a few episodes of it. She plays the usual very cynical. Yeah. In this also, she was quite cynical towards indie, so I kind of had Fleabag vibes. But yeah, she was pretty okay, right? I mean,
she wasn't bad, but I didn't find her as funny as any of his other companions.
Yeah,
because in the first one you have Marion's character, who is has very excellent chemistry with Harrison Ford, right? And of course Sala is a great fun character. And then you have Sean Connery in the third one, and then Short Round in the second one. Even Billy Scott, Marcus Brody, I love Marcus Brody. Right, all of these, and of course even Shia in the fourth movie, I thought
they had some chemistry, right? Like chemistry. The father-son kind of.
It's very fun to watch them interact.
Yeah.
But I felt like
this one
Phoebe's character and Indy doesn't.
They don't really have that chemistry.
They don't have the chemistry. It's not very funny.
It feels a really light version of Shia LaBeouf's chemistry.
Maybe. Because Shia is very hyperactive, and he calls Indy a lot of names. Like he calls him old man.
Pops.
Pops. And there's a lot of stuff like that. And I thought that was very fun to watch. But in this one, I feel like that chemistry wasn't there. And there's also another kid who's hanging around with them. He's also not that entertaining.
He kind of reminds. Okay, I'm sorry to say this, but he was kind of playing the whole monkey party. Like if you remember Raiders of the Lost Ark, Mariam had a pet monkey who used to follow her.
Right.
I felt like he was kind of that towards people. Sort of he was there.
He's there to drive certain things in the movie, but his character is not that important. We don't really care about him. It's not like Short Round.
Yeah.
Because Short Round in the second one is because he is a very lovable character and he saves Indy on some occasions. True, and when he gives that hug in the second one, that's a very kind of emotional, very powerful moment. So there's this kid who, I don't feel the same.
And also, if you remember in Temple of Doom, Short Round has a lot of respect towards Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Whereas this one,
he just meets him. He's not. There's no relationship.
And also I felt like Phoebe's character was more insulting Indiana, because I know, yes, like he's goofy and all of that, but that's the whole thing about Indiana Jones. He's adventurous and he takes a lot of risks. And, like that's his whole thing. That's why we all love watching Indiana Jones movies, right? Because he beats up people, he jumps on trains, he breaks tombs and whatever it is. But, I mean, if you're going to insult it, like, why? Like, it's weird. I know it's a sense of irony, but you don't have to put irony on each and everything. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the other issue I had was the action was not as impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. So this one
Indiana didn't give much punches, right? Like
not
barely,
much.
Right?
I mean, he's old, so I'm okay with that. With that. I mean, he did do some stuff in the first act when he's playing. We get like a flashback scene where he's still young in that one. The World War II is about to end, I think, in that sequence where they set up the whole Dial of Destiny storyline. In that, we see him actually. He's hanging off a train. He's involved in a bike chase and all that. But what I felt like was that the action scenes, they were a little muddy. They were like they were a bit hard to follow, and visually it's kind of dark. Like it's a bit cloudy. Like I can't clearly see what's happening. But if you look at Raiders, any of the chase scenes in Raiders, or the mine sequence in Temple of Doom, or in the third one, multiple chase sequences, right?
Especially if
the one with Sean Connery on the bike,
and also on the
plane, and on the Zeppelin also. A lot of these scenes are very clearly shot. Like, I mean, obviously it's Spielberg. That's the difference, right?
But also I feel like back then they didn't have much of like tech to like, do all these hard shots and all. And
so they didn't have CGI. So they had to get it on camera. And they had to make it work on camera.
And also the cameras were like very static at that time. They weren't like movie and all that stuff.
But it's very, you can clearly see what's happening. And even in the fourth one, which is probably the weakest out of Spielberg's movies, but even in that, the action looked good. Like there's a bike chase through the library, that sequence, or even the one in the forest. We'll get back to that. but even that is, you can clearly see what's going on. It's easy to follow, even with multiple characters jumping around and so much going on. It's easy to follow, and I feel like in this one the action is not easy to follow. It
kind of goes through your head.
I'm just sort of like kind of in a numb state.
Even the tuk-tuk scene was a bit like, I was watching it, and then I kind of I actually was like looking at my phone. I was like, how long is this going to go?
Because it keeps going on and
on. Like,
and this is also, I feel like the movie is a bit too long. It's like 2.5 hours or something.
I mean the previous movies
they were all like 2 hours. Exactly 2 hours. They were exactly 2 hours. And I don't know about you, but I appreciate these big blockbuster movies that have 2 hours. And they tell the entire story in 2 hours. It's very efficient. It's not wasting
3 hours
my time.
is actually is a bit too much.
This one I think about 2.5.
2.5,
I think. I think it's a bit too much. I mean, they didn't need to go.
Maybe I felt like it was a bit more, right?
Was it?
Yeah, because I mean, the film starts at 1 o'clock.
No, but then there were trailers and stuff. We missed that part. But anyway, I feel like it was a bit too long. But I mean, I do like Harrison Ford. I mean, who hates Harrison Ford? Right?
But don't you feel like he looks a bit too old for this?
I mean,
the fourth one, he looked a bit more physically fit. In this one, I felt like he was about to drool and like,
he was, he's like, this is his last try.
I kind of feel bad for him because I mean, he doesn't have anything else to like prove. Like, he's done what he's done, right? Like,
I guess he felt like it was his last time to play this. Because I mean, look at what he's done in the past few years. He's returned to all his old roles. He did Han Solo again. He did the Blade Runner thing again, and now this is his third. Those are the three iconic roles he's played, and this is the third one. So I guess he thought, okay, I have one more shot before I'm too old. I'm gonna do this.
I'm gonna cash that last paycheck from this.
No, but That's true, but then I mean, I don't think he didn't like mail it in. Like, he was giving a good performance.
But also speaking about that, also I'm a bit disappointed about the marketing in this film,
right?
Because they didn't do much,
I guess.
Because I remember there was only like 1 or 2 trailers, and then afterwards there was nothing. Like there was no social media posts going around.
I think what happened was they thought they had the next Top Gun Maverick, because they released Dial of Destiny at Cannes. They screened it at Cannes, and I think they thought that it will get the response that Top Gun Maverick did. And Top Gun Maverick, they did that, and that started the hype train. Right? But this one, it had the opposite effect. The people at Cannes didn't like it. And so the hype started dying down. And so leading up to this, a lot of the critics were like, the reviews were mixed on this. So I think it had the opposite effect of Top Gun Maverick. It actually caused the hype to go down.
But I also feel like maybe the Disney executives were like, oh, it's Indiana Jones. Anyone knows Indiana Jones. So once we like put it out there, like cinema halls will be full of people.
That's true.
But unfortunately, in our cinema hall, I don't know which hall we were, but
empty.
It was really empty. Like, I think there were maybe like 30, like 20 people around a hall.
It was, I guess it wasn't even 50%.
Yeah. There are a lot of empty seats. And But yeah, I mean, if I would give this out of 5 stars, I would most likely give it 3. For like,
I think
okay.
I'm also kind of there, almost there, and I think it's mostly because of the third act. Because let's get to the third act, because most of the movie, I do like the artifact they're going after. This thing that was made by Archimedes, and they connect it to Syracuse, and how this thing allows you to find fissures in time, these portals through time, and you can go back and change things. And obviously the Nazis wanted to change the course of World War II and what happened. That's what Mads Mikkelsen's character is doing. And so he takes them, and they find this thing, and they open a portal, or the portal is already there. They find the location of the portal,
like dial to like
find the location, and they go through it thinking they're going back to World War II.
But nope.
But no, it goes back to the time of Archimedes, and ends up. We see the siege of Syracuse. The Romans are attacking, and it's this bonkers scene. It's this amazing. I did not expect to see that.
Exactly.
And as soon as I realized they have actually gone back through time, and it's not World War II. I mean, we don't need to see World War II because we've already seen that in the past Indiana Jones movies, right? We've seen him fight the Nazis. And now he's in this battle with Syracuse and Rome. And Archimedes is there. And
he's like, wait a minute.
He's like, what's going on, man? And I thought that was pretty interesting. I didn't expect that. And then,
because the way the film was leading up to this point, I was thinking, okay, maybe the bad guy might end up on the other side of the portal, and everyone else gets like saved.
But they actually, everyone goes through. Right?
Because like, if you remember in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, when Kate Blanchett's character is like, oh, I want all the knowledge that you have, and then her head explodes.
Usually it happens to the bad guy.
Bad guys, right?
Whatever the effect of the magical object has.
But in this, it didn't happen, right? I mean, like, the plane got shot down, and then they crashed.
So I mean, it's not a thing that destroys people. It just shows the location of a portal, and they just go through. And I mean, and then there's one point Indy is injured, and he decides he wants to stay. But obviously that's dumb. You can't.
You can't. Also, I was expecting him to know that, because I mean, because like,
but he is dying. He's sort of dying. He's bleeding out. So he thinks, okay, I'll just die here. Because he meets Archimedes. So that's like, a cool moment. I thought, okay, because for the first time, he's actually going to be part of history.
Instead of like, teaching history.
Yeah, but I think because of that unexpected third act, which kind of, because I was almost falling asleep.
I was actually looking at my phone. I was like, wait, it's 4 o'clock now. It keeps on going.
So after that, when the third act happened, I kind of woke up, and so that kind of saved the movie in a bit. I won't say saved the movie, but it was entertaining towards the end.
That's like that one pillar that holds the entire like falling building.
Yeah. And I know people complain about the deep de-aging. But I thought it looked decent enough in the first act when you see the young Indy. There's a sequence where he's in a train full of Nazis and he's wearing a uniform. I thought that was funny. That's the kind of stuff you used to see in the old movies. He's in disguise.
And
so I thought that was pretty fun.
Also, since you're talking about the deepfake, so apparently I found out that they actually made rubber masks of Harrison Ford's younger face. I think they took reference to his older movies. That's why when you see the scenes with I think the younger Harrison Ford, it feels like his head is a bit unusual. Looks very unusual because his neck is really thin and his head is bloated. So. Yeah, I think Disney was trying their best to kind of hide the fact that they're using deepfake, but you can still sort of see it. Yeah.
But I mean, it was better than what you saw in
Flash.
The Flash, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
This was pretty good for the most part. There were moments where you can tell it's CGI, but it was fine for the most part. I'd say this is an okay movie.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's kind of pointless because he sort of ends up exactly where he did at the end of the fourth one.
Yeah, because so after the movie, while we were at the food
while we were having our lunch,
lunch, I was actually pitching and okay, if I was the writer of, okay, if Disney approached me and said, okay, we want to do the fifth movie, how do you want to start off the script? I want it to be if you take the fourth movie, it ended with Indy marrying Marion, and then I was thinking maybe they continue that in the fifth film where he retires as usual and he goes back to having a home with his wife. Maybe Shia LaBeouf's character doesn't really die. We don't know.
I mean, you can
maybe he's off to another adventure as
I mean, you can just say he's fighting the war.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be dead.
Exactly. So, and maybe while he's having all of that, he still has that Nicky, that feeling of I want to go for one more adventure, but I don't really have a reason to.
Yeah.
And I feel maybe if that woman, if Phoebe's character kind of came in and said, okay, we are trying to look for this, and he feels,
I feel like he should have been helping her anyway.
Exactly.
Because she's his goddaughter.
Yeah.
So, because, I mean, you can tell that when her father died, I mean, the Toby Jones character, right?
Yeah.
That's an old friend of Indy's, right? So, he would have cared about her either way, right?
Yeah.
So, if she's being chased by the Nazis, Indy would be the kind of person who would help her out anyway.
And be you know what? For one last time, I'll go on this adventure.
But he would want to help the daughter of one of his best friends.
But then instead, I think Disney also has been doing this with much of the older characters.
They're all sad
and they're all sad and they're miserable, and it's come on, not everyone is like that. Right?
I mean, they did this with Han Solo.
Han Solo, and they did this with Luke Skywalker, right? Because with the whole him trying to study the Force, and then he destroys the book or what scrolls or whatever. But still, they could have done better with that. Maybe the first act would have been better if maybe they implemented something based on what I said. But I guess
they also have we realized this at the end of the movie, where Indy's character sort of is on the run because the police thinks that he killed some people. It's actually the Nazis who killed them. But he is being chased. And so he goes on this adventure. But when he comes back, they never show again how do the police know that he's no longer the killer, right? So he should still be a wanted man, right?
Yeah.
They never resolved that, so I don't know how that worked itself out.
Yeah, because I was expecting maybe Salah would come out and be like, hey, look, Indy, you're free. You're a free man. You're no longer suspect.
Yeah.
The case is done, and maybe he would sing a song he would usually
I mean,
do.
Salah, I did like seeing Salah.
Yeah.
John Rhys Davies. It's good to see him back.
Yeah.
I wish he was there a bit more, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, he's just sort of there in like a couple of scenes. And they had this other character, this CIA lady, who is there, and so she's sort of helping Mads Mikkelsen's character because I think the Nazis have promised the CIA that they can get them the dial of destiny. Yeah. I think that's why they're helping. Because this guy because I think Mads' character is sort of like a defector.
Yeah.
Right? So he has defected to the US and he's helping them. Yeah. He's actually the one who they say he helped them put the Apollo space missions on the moon, right? So they're helping him. So they have like a sort of like a relationship. So and this woman, the CIA lady, you can see that she feels bad when she sees normal people get killed because the Nazis are going around killing people. Yeah.
And she doesn't know that they are actually Nazis.
Okay. But you can tell that she has a bit of a conscience. Yeah. So I was thinking at some point she's gonna turn against them.
They work
work with Indy, right? I thought that's why they have that character because she can you can see
she
on
was
her
there in the first half of the film too.
You can tell that she understands that the Nazis are bad.
Yeah.
And she's a good person. So I thought she would turn to the other side.
But
and then she's killed off. What are you doing? And then what about Antonio Banderas, who shows up for 10 minutes and is killed off again. And you never really
he's
he's such a random character.
Yeah, like he's old and one leg is injured and he's walking with a walking stick. Because the guy can he could have done a lot more than just I don't know
I don't know why Antonio Banderas is there.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even know he was in the movie.
Yeah.
Until you said, hey, that's the guy from Desperados. I'm like, what? I didn't believe you. I mean, when I first saw him, I was like, it took me a while. I was like, wait, there is Antonio Banderas. and then he disappointingly dies.
I could have told no, he's a dude from Spy Kids.
Yeah.
So much films he's been in, but I told
Zorro, man, Zorro. That was so you have these characters that may have been interesting, but they were killed off. And so I don't know. I don't know about this one. This movie, it's not bad. It's not terrible.
But I'll tell one thing though. I felt even though we are talking about
Archimedes.
Yeah. I mean, he's Greek, right? Is he Greek or is he?
I think he's Greek. It's in Syracuse, Sicily. Yeah.
I felt like they didn't really dig deep into the history much because I remember in the previous 3-4 movies they kind of talked Indiana talks a lot about the history and stuff.
Especially in the Raiders and Last Crusade.
Yeah, even in Temple of Doom he talks more about
he explains, I guess. Okay.
But in this there wasn't much of it.
Right.
And also I didn't feel that kind of weight of there's a lot of history behind this artifact.
Even in the fourth one I felt it connects to El Dorado. And I guess maybe it's because the Holy Grail and the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
And even El Dorado in the fourth one, even though the Crystal Skull is something completely made up, but a lot of the historical parts seem like stuff that we are more familiar with. But I've never heard of Archimedes making a dial.
Same here, never.
But I know about the mirror, them using the what do you call those mirrors to burn the ships and all that. And also the water displacement thing.
Yeah.
And you even hear Archimedes say Eureka.
Eureka.
I guess the history wasn't as strong as the other ones. You want to talk about the other ones?
I would love to.
I mean, what's your favorite? What's your favorite?
I actually I feel like Temple of Doom has kind of grown on me.
Yeah.
I love it a lot more than... I won't say Raiders of the Lost Ark is bad and not good, but I feel like it's on the top two. Temple of Doom.
Yeah, probably.
But I also like the third one too.
Yeah.
And that's why it's really hard to choose.
It's really hard.
Three,
the top
because
three are
those
really
three films are really good. Like see, like when it comes to like a trilogy, like usually you feel like there's this constant line when it comes to the storyline. But I felt like the first one was its own vibe. The second one was like a totally weird movie, and the third one was a totally different movie.
It's very different, yeah.
Yeah, like all the three movies are totally different, but they're great.
They're great, yeah.
Because usually, like if a trilogy tries that, it's like a flop. Like you agree with me, right? Either it's a flop or either it's like.
I feel like in other series, even if I like the movies, I feel like they're not very well received. But in this one, I think most people love the first three. Right?
Well, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is like that one kid that no one talks about, or the black sheep of the family.
but I do like that one. I feel like that has been growing on me as well. It's odd. I can't explain it. But but Temple of Doom, man, like I know when I was younger I didn't like it as much, but I think as I grow up I think I dig the vibe, because it's so rich in like atmosphere. Like when they go into the mines and the cult of the Kali, and inside Pankot Palace, like all the sets, all the lighting, when that red glow that comes out of the ground.
And also it feels very exotic, right? In comparison to the other two films of the trilogy, it feels more exotic, right?
Obviously, it's filmed in Sri Lanka.
But I know that the whole for dessert you eat monkey brain. I know that's a bit weird, but I felt at that time they wanted the film to be more exotic, maybe, and they wanted to
And I think it's so over the top that really I don't think anybody actually believes that Indians eat that stuff. Because it's so clearly over the top, right? But it is really it is very cool. Like Temple of Doom. I mean, like when they show the village at night lit, like it's such a creepy thing going on,
and the villain is also creepy.
Temple
of Doom.
The cult leader, right? And also that the minecart chase is so good. It still looks incredible. I mean, they used a lot of miniatures and stuff as well, so it has aged really well. And then there's that action scene in the mines with the kids, and Short Round is going around kicking ass, I love the moment where Indy drinks the blood of the whatever, the Kalima or something, and then he gets brainwashed, and then it's up to Short Round to kind of bring him back, and then and he realizes that he hurt Short Round at one point. He slaps him or something, and then he hugs him and says hello. I was like, that moment feels so good, right?
You call him Dr. Jones. I love when Short Round says that.
And I love that companion Willie Scott. I thought she's funny. I know a lot of people are annoyed by her, and I think I also used to be annoyed by her.
But then in this, I kind of liked her in a
because I know that she's not like Marion. She's not. She's not an action person.
She's more like damsel in distress, right?
I mean, she is a singer. She's not an adventurer. So I thought she's really funny, in all of those scenes. And another thing was, in that movie, when you see snakes and all these creatures and creepy crawlies and all these things, they look real. I mean, they are probably real. The bugs are real. And so, that's one thing that movie. I mean, all the old movies really did well. But this new one, they show there's a scene with bugs, but they're CGI. It's CGI. So
I mean, in the second film, they literally use elephants to ride to the to the mines or whatever what palace?
The Pankot Palace.
Palace.
So actually, that all of those scenes in the jungle and the village are shot in Sri Lanka. And even that the scene where they're on the rope bridge. So that rope bridge is apparently built at the site of the Victoria Dam.
Oh wow!
That's where they filmed it. So the dam was under construction.
Wow!
And they got the help of the construction company to build that bridge. And in the behind the scenes, you can see Steven Spielberg walking across the bridge. So the bridge is real.
Wow!
So a lot of those scenes on the bridge are real. And I think the only thing is when they actually cut the bridge. I mean, maybe those must be dummies or something. But up until they cut the bridge, they have people on it. Like, that's a real place, and it's this.
But I'll tell you about that bridge scene. That was really intense.
Yes.
Which I think the new films have failed to like to bring
especially
that intensity.
The new one.
To bring that intensity to feel like, oh shit, like Indy can die in this film, but you know he's not gonna die. But to give that even that tiny feeling of intensity, I think that's what I think the first three films actually like makes it more memorable than the other films. I felt even so. I mean, after we watched this film, also I didn't feel an ounce of intensity like I felt watching Temple of Doom or Raiders of the Lost Ark or even the Last Crusade.
Yeah. It didn't have that sense of danger, I think, you know, because I think one of the reasons maybe because the old movies are kind of shot on location, right? Yeah. They go to these places, and I mean, that rope bridge is real. That's a real place where a dam is. So it's a very high place, right? So you can clearly see they are in danger.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. And you know, the sets are impressive, like inside the palace and all that. And that second movie is such a vibe, man. And I know that it doesn't have a lot of action in the mid part of it. It's mostly like them going through the palace and all that. But once the final bit starts, where in the mines and they're fighting
and also even the torture part was pretty intense, because even they torture Short Round, and that was like really, you feel bad. You're like, like, so then. So my top film.
So that's
is
your
like
favorite
one, the second one. But it doesn't mean the first one, Raiders of the Lost Ark, or the third film is bad.
Yeah,
I love those two too. But the second film has like really grown on me. Like you know,
even for me, the second one has grown. Yeah. I would say my favorite. It's very hard. Okay,
it's really hard.
It's probably Raiders. Because I think Raiders is like
the foundation.
Is so efficient. Like I was just watching. I remember watching the opening sequence, and I'm sitting there thinking, if I turn off the sound, I can still understand every single thing that's happening.
Yes.
Because Spielberg, the way he blocks the camera, the scene, and the way he moves the camera, and the way he goes for a close-up, the way the camera moves, and he always knows what to emphasize in every shot.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure if I switched off the dialogue, even if that movie was silent, I would understand everything that's going on. That's how good the filmmaking is in the first one, right? Every single shot like is never wasted.
I mean the opening scene of the first film is like the most memorable of all three, right?
Yeah, with the giant ball coming down, and then Alfred Molina is there. You know, so much of that movie is filmed so wonderfully. Like you can tell everything that's happening, and even like even the villain in that one, the guy, the SS guy, he's so memorable. He looks so evil. That guy who tortures people, and
he was a Nazi too, right?
Yeah. I mean, most of the bad guys are Nazis in this. But that first movie ran like I think out of all the kind of. So usually at the end of an Indiana Jones movie, there's a big climax where the magical object it does its thing, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the first one still has the best climax because when they open the ark, the effect it creates, right? I don't think any of the other films got close to that intensity.
Yeah.
Because you see the faces melt off and all these ghosts come out.
And all the Nazis get like melt.
Yeah, they get melted. Or that is still like.
And also like in Raiders of the Lost Ark, the scene when they were getting the ark, where the snakes were, that was really intense.
Oh right, this scene with the snakes. Yeah. And I love that scene where like they show like I mean these old movies had this thing where because they didn't have CGI, so whenever like you had like. When they had to show the skies darkening, they do this kind of smoky effect.
Yes.
And I love that smoky effect. They do it in Ghostbusters as well.
So
back in the 80s and 70s, this is how they did the darkening of the skies, and it's this smoky kind of misty
and
effect.
also like slowly they
that
would
looks so creepy.
reduce like the brightness of the sky slowly. You can feel it.
and that effect is so creepy. I don't know what it is. It looks so unnatural, and I love it when these old 80s or whatever movies do that sort of thing. And Sala is there in that first one as well. I love John Rhys Davies in that role. I
remember the scene when Marianne kisses him and then he starts singing, and then it's like that's like the favorite thing I liked about Sala, because he sings after something good happens to him.
He sings a bit in this new one as well, I think, towards the end. And we also get a callback to the scene where so in that first one, Marianne kisses him when he says he's injured. Where does it hurt? Where does it not hurt or something?
Not hurt, and then he would like
And so there's a callback to that. That was cute, I guess. So I think the first one is my favorite. But then the third one I think is the most fun out of everything. It's the funniest one. Because the Sean Connery is such a... I think he's probably my favorite companion character to Indy. Because their chemistry is so good.
Like father and son, it's like a whole other level. It's really...
And I love how when Indy does something he thinks is very clever, and then he has a smile on his face and he looks towards Sean Connery and to see if he's impressed and he's not. And then it makes Harrison Ford's face grumpy. And like I love those moments. And I mean, sure, it's the Nazis again in the third one, but I mean, it's fine. I mean, there.
So like basically in the third one, what happens is it's a holy grail.
It's the Holy Grail. I feel like that one is fun for the most part. But I feel like the ending is not as intense as the first one. Because, I mean, they try to do a similar thing where that guy drinks from the grail and then he kind of turns to dust.
Because they meet a ghost and apparently he says, okay, you have all these cups and one of them...
He's actually the knight. He's actually the knight.
He's the knight.
He's the knight who... he's drunk from the cup. So he's there to protect it. So he's not a ghost. He's actually...
okay.
But I do love that they kind of show him in a blue light. So he looks a bit ghostly. And
then, so that movie, and then once that was done, then we had the fourth one.
We watched Crystal Skull again. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like it. But it has grown on me over the past couple of years. I feel like because I think the action in that one is still good. It's still Spielberg doing his thing. Shia is entertaining. It's just like I don't know
what went wrong.
I mean, maybe it's because there's a bit of CGI kind of.
And also I felt like the whole speaking about that
why didn't you like the fourth one?
I don't know. I felt like so I don't know. I'm kind of like having this theory about movies. So like usually if you take like let's say if you take a 1.5 or 2 hour film that like it's an action adventure movie, I feel like there's all that I don't know if it's a ratio or if it's a template, but you should at least have one scene in the film where it's like over the top.
Right.
But I felt in the fourth one, there were like 2 moments of it. I can't...
It went too over the top.
There were some scenes that went too over.
Okay, the scene where Shia is swinging from like a monkey. That doesn't need to be there.
Like that wasn't like really necessary.
But I do like the chase scene. Where, you have all these trucks and stuff crisscrossing, and then there's like a giant bulldozer thing that is cutting through the forest, and then Shia is on one car and he's having a sword fight with Cate Blanchett's character.
Also, what do you think about the fridge scene? The new...
I know a lot of people hate it. I don't have a problem with it. Because I mean, it's Indiana Jones. Dude, did you watch Temple of Doom, right?
Yeah.
In that first scene, they jump off a plane, it lands on the Himalayas, and then he goes down the mountain, it lands in a river, and then the river ends up in Sri Lanka. I mean, it's supposed to be India, but I mean, that is, I feel like that's already so over the top. Him escaping the bomb in the...
I think that was a good over the top scene.
Yeah.
But the
you don't like the fridge?
The fridge, I don't know. I just felt maybe it could have used for another movie.
Maybe
I don't.
No, I think because they were kind of, because in the fourth one they're really trying to make you feel like it's the Cold War. So
with Russians,
so
right?
the Russians are they're after the Crystal Skull because they think it's psychological warfare is the next phase of the battle, right?
Yeah.
So I think they want to show the nuclear bomb going off to kind of show, okay, this is where we are now. This is the destructive power we have, but we are going to the next phase now. And that's the Crystal Skull. Where that's why so I think that's why, because there's a lot of Cold War era stuff happening in that, like for example the FBI going after people because they suspect people are Soviet spies and communists and all that. That was like a real thing that was happening.
But also, like, interestingly, I felt that, I mean, Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls was like released like maybe 2008, 9, 10ish.
Yeah, 2008 I think.
I think because at that time I felt like the internet culture at that time was mostly into conspiracy theories. And I felt that was like a very trending topic. And I felt that maybe that could have played a part.
Been played a part. I mean, because there's a bit of an X-Files flavor there going on there, right?
With the aliens
and all. Aliens, But it's also going with that kind of... I mean, there are all these people who believe that these ancient cultures were started by aliens, right? Ancient aliens, that History Channel thing, right? and Chariots of the Gods and all that. And a lot of people do kind of... various pop culture stuff have this thing where, you know, they think they bring in aliens and they say, okay, they built the pyramids or whatever. And I thought, okay, that's the kind of pulpy, you know, mix of history and fantasy that Indiana Jones tends to do.
But then I felt in the fourth film, I felt like
it went to sci-fi maybe.
No, not sci-fi. I didn't feel like They didn't push the pedal on it.
Alright, okay.
I felt like it wasn't enough.
Okay.
If you get what I mean.
I guess maybe. I mean,
because the whole Aztec thing, right?
Right.
Like they could have gone. Because I remember when I initially watched it, I thought the way they were going, they might be going on to the Lost City of Gold.
I mean, they sort of do. They sort of go to like where they think El Dorado is. Right? Yeah.
And then.
But it doesn't spend enough time in that city.
They could have done a bit more.
Maybe.
That,
it goes by pretty fast.
And also, I wish that they didn't really have to reveal the whole alien thing.
Right.
The thing where so they're in this throne room with all the alien skeletons, and then suddenly the machine switches on and it goes circular, and then we see the alien much more clearly. I wish they shouldn't have shown that scene when the alien kind of pops in.
Okay.
Maybe they could have shown a scene where Cate Blanchett's like character like looks at whatever she sees, but we as the audience don't get to see it.
Right.
And then like her head actually like explodes. That could have, you know, given more intensity, because like that could have maybe like played a bit of mystery onto it. Because I feel like Indiana Jones kind of does that sometimes. I'm not sure, but I felt it could have been better if they did.
Right. Okay.
Because the alien thing kind of looked a bit good.
It didn't look. I think visually it didn't look that cool. But I mean, I don't have a problem with that movie as much as a lot of people. So for me, I guess it would be like the first 3 movies are awesome. I like the 4th one. 5, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'll watch this again. But I think I will watch. I think when the next time I'm gonna rewatch this, I'll just watch 1, 2, 3, 4, and just stop there.
but I feel like I would
watch 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and like stop it from there. And, like pretend like the others didn't
the thing
happen.
is, the third one has a pretty good ending.
Yeah.
Because you see in that one Sala, Indy, Marcus Brody and Sean Connery's character, they ride off into the sunset. That's the final shot of the movie. And that is such a perfect way to kind of end it.
Yeah. Maybe for the fourth film, they could have gone with a much more like they could have explored other stories with a younger Indiana Jones.
Maybe I think they should recast.
Yeah, right. They could have done that from like the fourth film.
Yeah,
and then maybe like explore other histories.
I do like how in the fourth one for a second Shia's character picks up the hat and it kind of looks like he's gonna put it on.
Yeah.
But then Indy picks it back up. Like no, I'm still Indy.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't think they'll keep doing this without Harrison. I think what they'll do now is probably start a new series with somebody else.
I heard they're gonna do it with the Phoebe character.
Oh, right.
But people don't like her, so I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I didn't care much about
her. Yeah. I don't know how she's gonna even carry that whole thing.
And even this movie with Harrison Ford is a big flop.
Yeah.
So even with him, this movie is not successful. So how are they gonna make it work with like somebody
Phoebe
else
alone? Yeah, exactly.
I think what they maybe should do is start a completely new franchise. Which is sort of what I mean is, instead of having an Indiana Jones character, have a character that is sort of the spiritual successor, you know? I mean, this is basically the treasure hunting adventure movie, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of that, there are spiritual successors to Indiana Jones. We have the Mummy movies with Brendan Fraser. We have the Lara Croft Tomb Raider stuff with like Angelina Jolie and stuff. And then there's National Treasure with Nick Cage. I mean, all of these movies are pretty much spiritual successors to Indiana Jones.
But you know, I was thinking who should be his spirituals, who should be the next person. It should be Short Round. Because like if you watch even in Temple of Doom, like he literally does stuff that Indy would do.
Yeah,
like he also has that same sense of like curiosity. He also has like the pickpocketing skills. I feel like,
and he's a star now. He's
a star. I mean, I think he could carry it on. I don't know, but I feel like maybe they could, if Disney is like really interested in the Indiana Jones sort of franchise, and if they want to keep on milking, I mean, the most like perfect choice is Short Round. Maybe Shia LaBeouf, but after watching this movie, it's like they killed it off then and there. So or they could go back and maybe recast Indiana Jones and maybe explore other histories, other cultures.
You can show him go to other places and have other adventures.
Yeah.
And kind of...
Maybe like he could go and try to find the lost city of Shangri-La.
Yeah.
Or maybe...
There's so many places they can go. Yeah.
Because I was like thinking, so like after watching these films, like what are the interesting, like
cultures
and all? Yeah. Because he could even go towards like Indonesia and all, and maybe get into like maybe the villains of if he's going to Indonesia and maybe finding something. Maybe the villains could be like Japanese imperialists. Because at that time it's 1940s. So if you're taking Indiana Jones's like timeline, I mean, you had Nazis, you had the Soviets, and also you had Japanese imperialists. Or maybe it's a controversial choice, but you could also take the Chinese socialists, but because they were mostly into like destroying culture and having like a, I mean, if you take the Chinese revolution.
So he would be trying to save something.
Yeah, from them. I know it's a very
sensitive
topic.
I seriously doubt Disney will go there. But
I mean, like Disney has, like, here's the thing, right? With Star Wars, you don't really have that much of like creative freedom that this has, because this, I mean, Indiana Jones is about history. So
it's not completely about history. It's a bit of history, but a bit of myth as well.
So they have like a it's like a huge...
You could play with it.
Play with it,
yeah,
exactly. They could like get into other conspiracy theories, like maybe the Bermuda Triangle and then like Lost City of Gold.
Yeah, because they tend to connect like some kind of mythological thing.
Even Atlantis, they could like get into that, like if they wanted to. Like they have so much they could do, but I feel like after watching this film, I'm like, I don't think they're really that interested anymore, and maybe I don't know.
I feel like they did this because they could.
Yeah.
I mean, they like to do safe movies, franchise movies, and they knew Harrison Ford is still able to do one more movie, so like I think that's why I feel
like if anyways, if Harrison Ford wants to get involved, I think maybe he could join in as an executive producer.
I don't think we need to see him again. I think it's enough for in his Indiana Jones.
I mean, he looks really old and he looks like he needs to let him rest. Because the thing is, like, that's why even in the beginning of this podcast I was asking, like, is there anything else he needs to prove? Because he's done everything he needs, right? Like, I really feel sorry for the guy. Like, honestly, I do. Because I've seen him also in the interviews. He looks like really like tired and like, because I mean, in his age, doing all these, press releases and all, he looks really exhausted. Like,
I think he's earned a break. I think I do respect him for like coming back to his older roles. Because he came back for Han, he came back for the Blade Runner role. I mean, especially in Blade Runner, he was really good in that. And even in this, he's really good in this new movie, Dial of Destiny. He's good. I just wish the movie was better.
I mean,
I think he deserved a better movie. And look, I love the director James Mangold. He's done a lot of really good movies. He's done Logan, Ford versus Ferrari. He did 3:10 to Yuma. He's really good. Like, but he's no Spielberg. That's the thing, right? And even the fourth movie, even though it's clearly the weakest out of the Spielberg movies, it's still a Spielberg movie. And there's a certain way that Spielberg, kind of excites us, with the action. It's unlike anybody else. So even James Mangold can't deliver that. But
so like about these, like, okay, so about the fourth movie and the fifth movie, right? So I want to go back to the fourth movie
because it's very difficult to choose a favorite from the first three. But I think we can choose between 4 and 5.
But I actually want to add this, right? I feel I think what happened with the fourth movie was like there's a lot of pressure on it, right? Because you have all these, like, the first 3 movies are great. Right? The fourth movie, I think it had a lot of pressure on it. And I felt
fan expectations were probably very high.
Exactly. So I think that's where I think it fell off.
But maybe that's why a lot of people didn't like it, because the expectations were so high, and this fourth one just couldn't.
And also, I as someone who like recently rewatched these Indiana Jones movies, like when you watch 1, 2, 3, like you feel like you're going on top of the mountain. And then when you start watching the fourth movie and afterwards, you feel like you're falling down, like off a cliff. You're like, whoosh. So I think that's where I think the fourth film went wrong. I also feel if we add the fifth film also, I feel like maybe we could go deeper into the fifth.
I feel like for me it's like 1, 2, 3 are great. 4 is, I think, enjoyable. I find enjoyment out of it.
Would you rewatch it though?
I would rewatch it because I watched the fourth one a few days ago and I liked it quite a bit, and I thought, okay, and it has a good ending for Indy as well. So I thought, okay, I'm probably in a couple of years and I'm rewatching this whole thing. I'm just gonna watch 1, 2, 3, 4 and just stop there.
Fifth one, I feel like it has no rewatchable quality. Because like if I I'll be very honest. When I was in the cinema hall watching the fifth movie, there were certain points I was just like looking at my phone at the time. I was like, yo, why is this taking time? And like,
it's too long.
It's too long. And I kind of got real distracted because like I think they dragged it too long.
So I guess that's how we felt about it.
So I want to do this. So
one final ranking.
So number 1, what shall we put? Raiders of the Lost Ark?
You give yours, I'll give mine, yeah?
So...
it's hard.
It's hard. Okay, fine. Here's what I'm going to do, right? Number 1, it's going to be Raiders of the Lost Ark. Because the opening scene is memorable. Not gonna do. Second one, I'm going to put Temple of Doom, but it doesn't mean the third one is bad. Because I like the vibe. I've grown into it, right? And then the third one, I'm going for it. Third one is going for number like is number 3, just like the trilogy, right? First one is number 1.
It's just going it's all downhill after the first one. I mean, I would probably say the same thing, because Raiders is so, like, you know,
memorable.
But I think I still think the third one is the most fun. I
think third one would be like our number 1 if someone asked us, like, which is the funniest of all 3. I think the third film is like number 1 on the top. Number 2 would be the first film, and then 3 would be Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom was not funny, but it was intense and it had its own atmospheric vibe, like we were talking about.
Yeah, so that's... I think I would probably say the same thing, you know. The first Raiders is my favorite, probably. And then followed by Temple and Last Crusade. I like Crystal Skull and then the final Dial of Destiny, I guess. That's how
I think the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull would be number 4 for me anyways. Just like it was a 4th film, it's number 4. It's like...
So we are just going chronological. Order of release is our ranking. I think I would feel the same way. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention. In this one, John Williams is doing the score. And the score is good. It's always good. I mean, John Williams... I love how the Indiana Jones main theme changes depending on the tone of the scene. Because when Indy is very kind of tired, the music goes tired, right? And when it's a bit creepier, the music goes creepier. So one thing I noticed rewatching all the movies is that...
You could say the soundtracks were better than the plot.
Yes. Absolutely. And I love how John Williams does these
maybe
moments.
He should have written a story.
Maybe, I don't know. I think he works very closely with the director. So there are scenes where, you know, when Indy punches somebody, there's always a musical kind of
element to it.
Every punch, every kind of significant action moment has a musical part that plays up to kind of accentuate or whatever is going on.
I felt in the fifth one, the opening scene, my favorite part was that, like what we speak about the music, how it syncs well with the scene.
That's a really cool thing that I noticed. Yeah, so that's our Indiana Jones retrospective / review of the new movie.
Yeah, I think we talked about the new movie. We talked about the previous 4 films. We ranked them.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the end of it. I guess
that's the end of it.
And we have another series thing coming up soon. So Mission Impossible is about to come out. So we are probably going to be watching some of the older movies, and we'll have another episode.
One gave me new homework. Rewatch all the Mission Impossible films again.
That's not a bad series to rewatch.
I mean, the
good homework.
Good homework. So anyways, thank you so much for listening in, and please don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for our new episode on Mission Impossible. And for future episodes, because actually this month is going to be exciting because we have Barbie and we have Oppenheimer coming up, so that's a double feature right there. We might do an episode on both the films.
So it's going to be a packed July, I guess. The end of the summer blockbuster season. So there's gonna be a lot of big movies coming out. So stay tuned for that.
I'll see you all then.
See you guys. Bye bye.